Hello! Greeting to all of our students around the world that have just been admitted, and welcome to our student panel discussion. My name is Jessie Bonilla, and I'll be your moderator today. First and foremost, let me start by congratulating you upon your admissions decision. Here we have some of the students who are going to be our panelists today, and they're going to share with us about their different experiences at Richmond and different aspects of the university. And we hope that we learn some of the university aspects throughout this conversation, and that ultimately you can choose Richmond as your home for the next 4 years. Now let me ask our panelists to introduce themselves by saying their name, country, major, and what is one thing they love about the University of Richmond.
Hi, I'm Ritvika Bose, and I'm a senior and an Indian resident of Bahrain. I'm a biochemistry and a molecular biology major, and my favorite thing about Richmond are these small class sizes and how personal you can get with the professors.
Hi, I'm Maximir Moshkin. I'm a junior from Uganda. I'm also a biochemistry and molecular biology major. And one thing I really like about Richmond is the vibrant academic environment and the synergy you can get between professors and students.
My name is Lina Tori John. I'm an international student from Afghanistan. I am majoring in political science and leadership. One thing that I like about Richmond is to be able to give back to the Richmond community through civic engagement.
Hi, my name is Darren Carroll. I'm a freshman from Northern Ireland, and my favourite thing about Richmond is the diversity, not just of people, but of experiences and opportunities.
Once again, my name is Jessie Bonilla. I'm a sophomore from Nicaragua. I major in economics, and my favorite thing about Richmond are the networking opportunities that happen throughout office hours. Thank you so much for your introductions, and please allow me to actually ask you my very first question for today. So why did you choose Richmond? Like, what aspects of the university really attracted you to come here?
I can go first. So what I said before was that I was really looking for small class sizes, and this is one of the only bigger universities that actually have less than 20 people in most of the classes that you will take. So that was very attractive to me. And moreover, I don't know if any of you have actually seen it yet, but you get a summer stipend to do an internship or to do research on campus or off campus, basically whatever that you can do, and you're guaranteed to get close to about $4,000 at least once during your tenure as a student here, and you can get it twice if you're lucky. But that was very exciting to me because I knew I wanted to go into the sciences and I wanted to be involved in research, and knowing that there was an opportunity that you can for sure get it at least for one summer was attractive to me as well.
Yeah, just going off of that, one of my things I was looking for in a university was definitely small class sizes, and then sort of the sense of community outside the classroom as well. So I think that's really reflected in how students have a say in student government, or how students get one-on-one attention with their professors. So that was something I was definitely really looking forward to, and so far I've got it. So yeah.
I mean, as you may be aware, University of Richmond is a prestigious school, so for somebody that comes from a low-income background, sometimes finding a college can be very difficult. Financial situation is a problem. So for me, looking at the financial aid packet that the University of Richmond provided was, it made it easier to choose this place as somewhere that I wanted to come. They were very generous with the scholarship that they provided and the scholarship programs that they have for students that come from low-income backgrounds.
Yeah, for me, what I would say, kind of going off of what Lena just mentioned, is all the help that I was able to get from the admissions officers before coming. As you probably experienced this yourself, you have a lot of questions being an international student and trying to apply to a school in America. But all the support that happened before I got admitted, during my admissions, and during the first couple of months of me being here are really something that is beyond grace and way beyond my expectations. So I appreciate all of y'all's response. So now, once you guys have been in Richmond for a bit, so tell us, what have your classes been like here at the university?
I can go first. Okay, go ahead. No,
I've had really great classes here. I've had this is a liberal arts institution, and I think that's something that I've grown to really, really like about the school, in that there's such a wide diversity of courses you can take, and I'm really the kind of person who likes learning everything, and I've had so much opportunity to learn outside my major. I've learned how to paint, I've learned a lot about history, culture, literature, and things that I would have never like gone out of my way to study really if I didn't have the opportunity to do that here.
For me, back home, the style of teaching is more lecture based, and there's hundreds of people put in one lecture hall. So for me to come here, I was really surprised to see sort of the participation that happens in the classroom. Again, it relates back to small class sizes, but just sort of the style of teaching and knowing that you have those office hours and stuff is definitely something I wouldn't have received when I was back home. So that was pretty cool.
I would say for me, I do like the lecture-based part of the class, but for me it's more about the application of it. So at Jepson School of Leadership, I've been able to take a class called Justice and Civil Society. So we're learning about what justice means in our community and looking at it through like political lens and community lens and civic engagement. As part of that, we were able to intern somewhere. So as part of that, I was able to intern at the International Rescue Committee and serve with the refugees and immigrants that arrived to Richmond. So I really like that component that class provides. You learn about it and you actually apply it in real life into like community or non-profits that are around Richmond.
Going off of what all of you said, I think especially when you start taking upper level classes, a lot of them are good enough to prepare you for graduate school or real life jobs if you are going there. At least right now I'm taking an advanced chemistry class that people don't even get to use the instruments that I'm learning how to use till they get to graduate school. So we have the resource to do that, and I have a professor who knows how to take it all apart and show me how it works on the inside. So when I went on graduate school interviews, actually people asked me always that, well, this is a small liberal arts school, how are you going to translate it to a bigger graduate school now? And I think that the education that I receive here in all my classes, it prepares me perfectly for any upper level classes that I might take later on.
Yeah, just adding to that, I think one of the things Richmond does best is like not just make you or help you be book smart, but actually be like real life smart, give you the tools that you can really go out in the community. If you are passionate about change, if you're passionate about serving your community, the professors and the opportunities, the scholarships that they give you really prepares you as that leader to go back into your community and do that job.
Yeah, something else that I like also going along those lines is, it's gonna sound like a Barbie commercial, but you can literally choose whatever you want to be, like choose who you want to be, and University of Richmond really allows you to do that. Just like as an example from my own life, as I mentioned before, I'm an economics major, but I feel like the university has really like pushed me to really pursue anything and everything I'm interested in. So as well as being an economics major, I'm also a marketing concentrator and an entrepreneurship concentrator. And in addition to that, since we have the great blessing of this being a liberal arts school, I'm also a dance minor. So I'm really combining all my passions in one, and I do not have to like pay anything more or really like put so much work on my workload or have to get a bunch of overrides. No, it's just simply, I want to do this. I'm encouraged to do whatever I want to do. So I'm an economics major who dances. That's something pretty unique. It's something great that I love about this university.
Sounds like a YouTube account. Economics for dancers.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a great elevator pitch start to begin with. So now kind of moving a little bit outside of the academics realm and into your extracurriculars and like what you do in your quote unquote free time. I'm kind of wondering, how does the social and extracurricular picture look for you guys?
I think I've become very career oriented in the last 2 years as a junior and a senior. So actually I've been a teaching assistant in my free time for Maxime here. And I've been a teaching assistant for a lot of the science classes that I've taken. I'm a writing consultant. I've been an RA for a couple of years. So it's kind of what you choose to do, I guess. You could be part of many clubs. But you could also kind of go that route, and if you want to make a little bit of money on the side and also boast your resume, you have a lot of those opportunities right on campus. As an international student, you don't get to work off campus unless you have like a special visa, but I found that you don't need to necessarily do that at all, because on campus you have a lot of opportunities too.
Yeah, just going off of that, student employment again was something that really surprised me. It's going to sound like I was surprised by hiring, but again, like it's really a campus that's run by students. We've got students working in the admissions office, in the career development center, and all different places. I work in the admissions office and the catering department, for example. So that is definitely one of the ways that I spend a lot of my time, and it's great. Again, like you mentioned, for future careers or even just interview experience or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's definitely one of the aspects I really enjoy. Anywhere you go on campus, you're going to find a student working there, and it's great.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, basically on the topic of extracurriculars, I think it's pretty good here because, as you stated earlier, like everything is kind of student run, like especially the clubs and like extracurricular activities. And yeah, that's been my experience because my sophomore year, I was like secretary of the international club, and we always like together with the two executive members, we're always in charge of like organizing like social events specifically for international students, or like kind of like thinking about the international students. And it was a very fun experience. I got to know a lot of people, and it was very casual and very like chill, I would say. So it was like very nice, like a very nice experience of getting to know international students. And currently I am vice president of the African Student Association, and we're also organizing similar like cultural events for students. I think currently we're planning a fashion show
Oh.
in a couple of weeks, and yeah, it's all exciting and getting to know all these people. And
Are you
it's
going to
like-
be in it?
yes.
Yeah.
Everyone, yeah, we need
Very
people.
nice.
Awesome. Yeah, kind of going off those lines, as you mentioned, being part of these different activities for African students, I'm part of different clubs and organizations for Latino students. As a Latina myself, I'm very passionate about those things. Therefore, University of Richmond does give you the opportunity of really like pursuing going after your own interests or things that you want to learn more about. So as of now, I'm part of Ritmo Latino, which is a dance group here on campus that we both teach and perform different Latin dances, starting from like bachata, merengue, salsa, you name it, we do it. And I'm also part of SOLS, which stands for Solidarity Organization for Latinx Students and Allies. And so it's just a very good opportunity to get to educate the campus about different cultures, about sharing different times. And as international students, you might get homesick sometimes. So it's actually like a really good that we can fall back on these communities and these friends, both international or domestic. And it's just like a great way of spending your time and really getting to know new people.
Yeah, and just adding to that, I think like for every student that's here, whatever interest you have, there is a group or there's an opportunity to get connected, you know. If there isn't something, a club like that or a group that you would like to be part of, there's always the opportunity to start it.
Oh,
Then
yes.
you guys
There's
create
so
a
much
soul,
funding
right?
for it.
Yes, there's funding for it, there's support for it, there is the space to gather, have events. So definitely, if you have any new ideas, any new creation in mind to have it part of University of Richmond, the opportunity is there.
Yes, definitely. So kind of going on to my next question, we talked about extracurriculars, so now I'm wondering about like your living conditions, your living experiences. So how would you describe the housing and food here at the university?
So for me, it's a little more specific because I'm part of the first year live and learning community called Richmond Endeavour. And so that's similar to one of our other living and learning communities that I think someone else is a part of, but it's basically you take your first year seminar with the same people you live with. So, and you get to campus early as well to do the roadmap program, which is like shorter courses to develop a community. But the Richmond Endeavour has definitely had a huge impact on my sort of social circle and the experiences I've had, because the Endeavour program had a lot of international students in it. So it was great to talk to people from India, from China and so on. And outside of the classroom, we get to go bowling, we get to go escape rooms, we do all these different activities. And so then when we come back into the classroom, we have really strong relationships between each other, and that means we can discuss, we can debate and feel really, really comfortable inside of class and out.
Yeah.
I mean, additionally, just to add on to, there's so many programs for freshmen. I was also part of one, like a living learning community that was maybe more oriented for international students. But also in my sophomore year, I was part of a sophomore scholars in residence program. That was like a class and residence kind of situation, and it was very similar to just what Darren said. But at the end of it, I went on a trip to Los Angeles that was completely sponsored by the school, and it was very fun, but also very like educational.
Awesome. Well, kind of putting this on the other side of the coin, I'm a resident assistant, or an RA, as a fellow here mentioned, and so I kind of get to see this stuff from the other side of the plate. And something that I really like is the amount of responsibility that I've had for my residents, the students that I'm under, that are under me, because since we're here on Richmond, like, there's always like people and different like support groups you can go to if you need any sort of help. I'm one of those people, and we have different programs. We have CAPS, we have Common Ground, we have the Academic Center, we have just different things. And I previously mentioned CAPS, which is Counseling and Psychological Services. So, and they're really open for anything. Like if you ever, like there's absolutely like no embarrassment or no discouragement. Like if you don't feel in place or if you're feeling kind of out of it, there's always a resource that you can go to in order to like be like right back on your feet or like get that extra boost. Or if you need any help, really, feeling any sort of way, there's always a source for you. So that's something that I really love, and I'm really thankful, especially as an international student.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, relating to sort of day-to-day life, I'd be curious to know what people think about the dining hall, specifically if they've done like meals for your home country or anything like that. And this brings to mind for me because last week it was St. Patrick's Day, so they did steak and Guinness pie and different types of potatoes and stuff, which was great. So, and I know they do Caribbean food. They celebrated
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras, right.
Yeah.
So I think the dining hall is great. The dessert section is like it's like famous. I know when tour groups come around, they really like to sort of shine light on the dessert bar because that's how good it is. So.
Oh, yeah, we have to mention the Quesadilla Station. The Quesadilla Station is really close to my heart. We have it like maybe 2 times every 2 weeks or something. But also like something about myself is that I'm part of the Dining Services Committee, which is something that they've newly implemented about basically listening to students, because since U of R is such a diverse community, the question of like what to cook, what to make is always there. So this committee is like kind of like that group that bridges the gap between the cooks and that staff and students as into like what do you want to cook. And I was really pleasantly surprised that last semester and last year we had been pushing towards more Latin options, and well, this year we got the Quesadilla Station and the Caribbean bar, very close to my heart.
Very nice. Yeah. I just want to add something similar to what you said, like that for students, leaders to be that bridge between students and the school. I'm a head resident assistant at one of the residence dorms, and what we do is we basically are there for the students. I was a resident assistant for freshmen last year, and that really gave me the opportunity to share about the difficulties maybe that I faced during my freshman year and how to get connected with resources to overcome those. And then right now to be able to provide that support for our students now, for upper class students as you get higher, become a junior, senior, there are more other challenges, academic challenges that may come your way. So I think having resident assistants in the dorm, they provide you this opportunity to go talk to students if you don't necessarily want to go talk to a professor or a counselor. So I think Richmond does a well done job of that. Yes.
Awesome. And maybe kind of stemming off of that, we kind of go to our next question of what are some unique opportunities you think Richmond has?
Yeah, so I talked earlier about how diversity of opportunity was one of my favorite things about Richmond, and I think the best way to sum it up would maybe be that our small student size doesn't reflect the resources of the university. It has the resources of a huge university, but so they're always putting on like career programs. I went on ANS Next, which is a sort of a 3-day weekend event down in the Richmond Marriott, and that really works on your future interviewing skills. There's a networking event with former Richmond alumni, which are always pretty happy to talk about you because they had a good time as well and want to know how the university is doing. So the ANS Next would definitely be one of the examples of sort of opportunities that Richmond sort of creates to develop you outside the classroom.
Yeah, kind of stemming off of that, maybe even putting a plug for the business school. But I took one class last year called Business Communication, and one of the projects there was to, first of all, get prepared for like a mock interview, like a real job interview. And something that I was very pleasantly surprised the professor did was that Professor Carey actually brought real job leaders, like people that I do actually interview, like adults. It was not just your alum, but it was actually people who own companies, who have been entrepreneurs of their own, who have consulting groups. And actually, I mean, when I found out this, I was so nervous. And of course, they had dressed you professionally because that is really what they're preparing you here for. And actually, the person that I talked to, his name is Tom Topinka, and he actually runs a consulting firm. And right after that period of class, that's where we got to meet, and there was really like a spark that like flew there. And to this day, we're very good friends. He is now my mentor, and I'm probably gonna intern with him next summer, and maybe hopefully get an offer post graduation. But to be honest, if it would not have been for that class in this university, I would not have that connection. And with his connection, I have gotten like 5 other different connections, because that's how the world works, through networking. So definitely the networking experiences that you're able to get here, especially in the business school, wink, is a very priceless asset that UVAR brings.
I would say that for me, the best thing has been the undergraduate research experience. Like right now in lab, I'm working on making a molecular filter that is potentially, if it works, going to filter water supplies to reduce the amount of endocrine disrupting chemicals like BPA and BPS. No one has done this before, and we are trying to make it for the very first time, and we do have the resources to do it. It's slow, but it's coming together, and in the 2 years that I've worked on it, we have made a lot of progress, and we're trying to put out a publication based on it. But if you think about it, it is such a small institution. You do not have graduate students, you do not have postgrads, you don't have lab techs. So all the pictures that you take, all the instruments that you have to use in order to come to do this, your professors kind of have no other choice but to trust you with it. So being here, I don't have to take my stuff and just go to a person and say, well, I need this done, can you do it for me? No, I actually know the interior workings of it. I know how to manipulate it if my results change. And I know I'm like the expert on one of the instruments, like nobody else in my lab knows how to use it because I put in the effort to learn it. And if you go to any of these bigger schools, there's somebody who gets paid just to do that. So you never get that exposure that you get here. And I think in the long run, especially if you're in the sciences, I think it's very important to get that research experience and be that confident in what you're doing. Because if you do go to a bigger institution, not that I'm crapping on it, but if you do go to a bigger institution, you kind of get stuck in a very small role in the research projects that you're doing. So being here, I think, has been very, very important for me to kind of develop that knowledge and that capacity to be part of a bigger lab and be more productive than I would have been.
I would like to share about the Bonner Scholars Program. That is a civic engagement program that you can be part of. So every year they accept 25 incoming freshmen as part of that program. It's very prestigious and competitive program, but part of that is because they really want to see your passions for wanting to solve public problems, really wanted to take part in community service. You don't necessarily have to be part of that program to get involved in the community, but that is an opportunity that you can apply before coming to the school. And as part of the Bonner Scholars Program, I was able to intern at the community at Richmond with the Secretary of the Commonwealth Governor's Office and have an internship there. And some of opportunities like that is not very common for a lot of colleges to just let students have, but University of Richmond is well known and they have the people and resources to connect you to those kind of offices. So as part of the Bonner Scholars Program, I was able to I was actually awarded the fellowship, the Newman Civic Fellowship Award, which is in recognition of your work and effort in solving public problems. It is truly an honor to be given that, but none of that would have been possible without the Bonner Scholars Program, without the support that my professors gave me. And I say all these things and I really mean it. I really mean it because I know in the future, whoever I become, a leader, a world changer, an activist, whoever, I know that University of Richmond has really played a major role in making me the person that I will become.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's just like, I haven't met one Richmond student who wakes up, goes to classes, and then calls it a day.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
true.
that's unheard of. People go to just a multitude of clubs, go downtown Richmond. Like, I think Richmond students want to be busy, and they need to be busy as well. Yeah.
Definitely, I would agree. And maybe now I know Lena mentioned the Bonner Scholars Program, and this kind of like ties into the next question of how's the integration of our campus with the city of Richmond and the surrounding area, like both in service and just accessibility or just opportunities?
Yeah, so I think one of the cool bits about this campus is that we are segregated in a sense, in a physical sense, that we're not like in the middle of the city, but the city is there about 15 minutes away, and the university provides shuttles that go really frequently. So if you do want to go downtown and try, the Richmond food scene is really good, and the festivals and stuff that they put on, it's super easy to do, and there are large malls and so on in Richmond. So I think it's really nice that we've got that mixture of an enclosed community, but also access and encouraged access to the downtown Richmond.
Yeah.
There are so many shuttles, aren't there? There's like one that goes downtown, there's one that goes to Target, there's one that goes to the mall,
Right.
or the movie theater if you say, ask nicely enough. There's also one that goes just around campus, so if it's like super late at night and you're on one end of the campus, you want to get back to your dorm and you're lazy, just get
Or it's
on one
cold,
of them. And it's cold, and it's cold, just hop on one of them and then it'll just carry you around campus.
Yeah.
And it runs like super late. I think all the other shuttles are like 10
that
a.m.
one.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
and then
The campus loop runs from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Yeah.
I know this very well. I'm in the library very late. Yeah. And something that we mentioned in here with the shuttles, and it was something that I was actually pretty nervous about coming as an international student without having a car. I was a little bit anxious about that, but in all honesty, I don't need one. The university provides enough transportation means to get around, and I'm also a Bonner Scholar, and part of that Bonner Scholar commitment is that for 10 hours per week, I'm serving in the city of Richmond, and I don't have a car. They provide shuttles, and the communication between transportation services and students is fairly easy. You'd think that with hundreds of students going through shuttles, you'd be like put on a wait list, but no. Emily Fopp, who's the head of transportation, you will send her an email and she'll respond 2 minutes back. I don't know how she does it. It's amazing, but it's really something that's very flexible. And it goes according to your needs, especially also for breaks when you're coming back from the summer or the breaks. There's shuttles going to and from the airport, and that is extremely helpful. Especially when you come with a bunch of bags, and you might, it's not like, oh, you're just gonna hop on a bus or just hop on here. Like, they actually provide those services, and that is something that I find extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Would y'all agree?
For sure.
Although with the rest of Richmond, I don't know if any of your classes have had this, but I take very few humanities classes, but when I do, because Richmond has so many museums and it has such a rich history, you often get taken to these museums if they pertain to your class. I think last semester I was taking a class about cultural segregation and how it affects healthcare. And we went to the Valentine Museum because they had an exhibit about the history of vaccinations and history of how these diseases came to Virginia and how that was different for a colored population and the white population. So I thought that's quite interesting. I don't know if any of your classes have done that, but
I mean, just going off that point, Richmond is one of those cities that abroad you don't really hear about because it's you've got NYC and Washington and so on. So when I was initially looking at Richmond, I was like, okay, but then you actually come here and it has quite a large and deep history, and the Federal Reserve Bank is there, and there's like a lot of Belle Isle is like one of my favorite places in the city because it's
pretty
just
and historic. So
exactly.
justify
So
going there.
I mean, the
To
city of
make sense.
Richmond has lots to do and lots to see, and it's great that we have that kind of access.
Yeah, kind of going off that point with classes, I feel like Richmond really loves the arts, like museum, arts, history, and for my dance classes, they actually have us going to a bunch of different dance performances. And something awesome is that they make the tickets usually free for University of Richmond students. Whereas, you know, like any other adult would have to pay $25, $30, $35 for a ticket. They're somehow the university sponsors, and we get those tickets for free. And actually just tomorrow, like not even going too far from now, tomorrow I do have to go to a dance performance by Bat Shiva Dance Company, which is an Israeli dance company, and they're providing not only the free tickets, but also transportation, like here and from, like, they really just want us to be cultured in that aspect, and that's something that, I mean, you'd be kind of dumb to not take advantage of, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's also the like DuPont Fund,
Yes.
and that's really helpful when you want to see like cultural events. They reimburse you on the cost of the event, both in the city of Richmond and outside. So you could go to New York City and see a musical, and you could be paid back for it.
Yeah.
So it's really trying to make it accessible for people who are low income or who need like extra money to see these cultural events that are normally very expensive.
Yeah. And another thing in regards of transportation is that for breaks, you know, there's always a shuttle that can take you to the airport or to the train station. So I really appreciate that. You know, you don't have to use Uber or Lyft. It could be more expensive. So there's a sign-up sheet. You can put the time and register when you want to leave. And there's shuttles that leaves either morning, noon, or in the evening.
Yeah. Oh, and they do also provide us with a GRTC bus pass, which is just like the local like busing, I guess you would say, and you know, like
Also
in case
free.
also free for students, like every ride for a person would be like $1 and something. Like we just have a little swipey and we just like swipe in and we can go really anywhere in the city.
Yeah.
In case they didn't sign up for a shuttle, because it's happened. I don't know, maybe you all of a sudden want to do something. Well, they're giving you the opportunity to do so, even without a car. So that's something that I'm very grateful for.
Yeah.
Well, guys, unfortunately, the time for our discussion has ended today. Thank you so much for all of your insight, for being here. Thank you for all the information that you're able to bestow upon our newly admitted students. And for y'all, as you have heard of these stories, I hope that you have also become as enamored as we are about the University of Richmond. Is really a great place to be. We are looking forward to seeing you guys here in the fall, hopefully. And also for those of you that might have some extra questions, don't hesitate to reach towards us. We'll be on Facebook. There's always like the email outlets. We respond to those, I promise. And once again, thank you so much for watching this, and have a good day, everybody.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
تبریک باشد.
بدای ho.
Felicidades.
Congratulations, class of 2024.